was it that happened to your back?
So my first year playing, since it was like my sophomore year, I tweaked my back. I thought it was like my upper back, but um, the day after, like my lower back was like messing with me a lot. So I couldn't really run. I couldn't really bend. I was like, this is not right. So I was trying to push through it for Michigan State, and in Michigan State game, I wasn't having my greatest game at all because I couldn't really do anything. So I've been playing for it for 5 games until like 2 weeks before we went to the Rose Bowl that year. I was like, yeah, I can't really like play because of how my back was. Then following year, had to make sure I was getting stronger, my core stronger. And last year, I was like at my peak, and this year, I feel like I'm past my peak right now. But there's still room for you know critique, like critique and stuff.
Hey Thayer, you're an Ohio guy, Cincinnati. How special is that for you to be here representing your university, your state? I mean, tell me about that and why that's special for you.
Coming from Lincoln High, which is in Cincinnati, of course, nobody really makes it out. So um, everybody knows in Lincoln Heights, Ohio, you don't really make it out until you know you become like a star football player at high school or just like um, business somewhere, and that's where everybody like thinks like it's so easy. I'm like, no, it's harder than you think because everybody can just easily just like bring you right back in where you started from. And with me, I had people in my life that actually like push me through. It's like, yeah, you can't go back. I also had that for myself and my own family later on down the road. Like, yeah, I can't go back to the same ways I once was. So I was actually pretty fortunate to actually have people in my life to actually push me through that.
As a leader on the team, how special is it?
Just with me, it's just like just take one step at a time. Don't go so far ahead, being like, oh, I need to be this, oh, I need to be that. Don't don't do that. Like, don't be like somebody that you're not. So and I just keep telling them that, keep telling them that. They get off track sometimes, but also at the same time, they know where I'm coming from. Like, yeah, you really can't go past your first goal. As soon as you get past your first goal, what's your next goal? The next goal, then and just keep adding goals to make yourself better.
Thank you.
There yesterday, I don't know if you saw any of the comments made by Buckeye with the Rings over here, but this, we're talking like they're treating the rivalry close to your single rival fans, and also they would die trying. Did you hear any of that? It was Roger recently posted a picture of the content. Is that
Yeah,
on your radar?
to be honest, it's still a rivalry. I'm not really like I'm not trying to put like words out there and stuff, but I'm just basically just saying like we all treat them the same. Like me, Zach, and Jeremy, and our whole team's treating them the same. Like we always have. Like for the past like what 8 years now that we won. Like yeah, like we still treat it the same. Like it's not something like special. For Ohioans like myself, like yes, it's special, but at the same time, it's still a rivalry, like the greatest like rival for all sports. So we still take it the same.
Big smile. Big smile.
Coach Tom Allen today said that Ohio State is the gold standard that everybody's chasing. Since you've arrived in Columbus and me being a native Buckeye, I'm wondering what's it been like to be the hunted every day since you've been there? Because it seems like everybody puts Ohio State up on that map and puts a bullseye on your chest every year.
You know, we was all like as freshmen, always we always got taught like you always gonna have a bullseye on your chest no matter what. So we got practice like it's like our last like practice. So basically like with me and Zach, like we go against each other almost every day. Jeremy go against our linebackers slash DBs every day. Chris and Gary go against our DBs every day. Like we know for sure we got a bullseye on our back, and we know like we're the runners for the Big Ten, but we also got to act like it as well. Be the men that we are, and just be very humble about ourselves as well.
What were you thinking when you saw the NFL
That was like kind of like a hard decision for me to actually like come back, but also at the same time, I had to think back from high school. So I promised my mom that I was gonna get my degree before I leave, and I didn't get my degree yet. So I told her, long conversation with myself, my girlfriend, of course. We all I decided that it would be best for me to actually come back, get my degree before I go into the NFL, because everybody knows here the degree can make you go a long way. You know what I mean? Yes, the piece of paper, but also at the same time that shows you you have done college, you have achieved college. So now you actually get a bigger job than anybody else in your neighborhood.
Have you had any opportunity to cash in on NIL?
Oh, 100. Yes, I have.
What are some of the things that you maybe have
Right now, I had I got a car dealership going on. Of course, with my girlfriend's uncle, of course, and he has blessed me with a new car, which is actually pretty nice, and I appreciate him for that. I thank him for that a lot, and I also got some other stuff going on too, and also at the same time I'm going to Roosters a little bit with Austin in a bit. Hey.
there were stories about in the past college players going to bed money. And now that shouldn't be the case. It's got to be a nice relief to help.
It's a nice really to have cash in our pocket, but also at the same time, for people like myself or people that really that came from nothing, it's a great opportunity to actually have money in our pockets to actually give back to our families, because they can't really, do the stuff that they want to do. We can also help them out a little bit, but not as much as we need to,
I'm sure there's a lot of people that hesitated to jump in about Ohio State because it's affordable. What do you see that? How you see that going?
The quarterback situation, whoever's behind me or is going to do their job, no matter what. It can be C.J. Stroud, Jack Miller, Kyle McCord. They will do their job no matter what, because they are hard workers. They love to compete. They'll want to do what's best for the team. And they also want to make themselves proud and our team proud as well.
They have enough to be like the Fields territory or close to it.
Yeah, 100%. I firmly believe that.
There could Josh Thayer slide over next to you.
100%. He has the interior part is wide open, of course, but also at the same time, what Coach Day said, it's who wants it more. If you want to go get it, go get it. It's not just we gonna pick the best that we think. Whoever wants it, go get it. Then we decide at the end of camp who's actually earned that spot.
You get input on that?
I got a little input, but also at the same time, it's always up to them. Always up to that person, because we becoming grown men. We make our own decisions, And I always tell the guys, you the one who makes the decision. Not me, not Coach Doug, not Coach Day. You do.
The way Josh played, it's very surprised we all. I don't know that he was a guy who was talking about a lot in college, but we were by the end.
Well, I seen it when he first came in, in the summer, when COVID was still around, of course, but was at its highest peak, and he was doing some stuff that's was tremendous. So I was like, wow, you actually have a chance to play here. But also at the same time though, what are you gonna do with it now? I'm not about to say oh, you doing good, stay right there. No, keep going. Push more. Push yourself a lot more. Like y'all do. Y'all push yourself a lot more to actually make the best story. Just like Josh, he should push more to actually be the starting guard or even better than me or Wyatt or Josh or anybody else that actually came through the program.
Last year, we heard a lot about the passing game. So I think up to that. There hasn't been much talk about how that. Do you guys have some sort of outward motivation? Is there something this year that's kind of pushed you through this offseason?
After that loss, which was, bad, of course, for Ohio State, but we do still have that deep in our minds. Yeah, we don't put it out there as much, but we know this is where we need to be. What they did was attention to detail. We was attention to detail, but not as finally how they were. And I give them credit. they got us. But at the same time, though, I don't think it's going to happen again at all.
You guys have obviously been top dog in this league for some time now. For some of the younger guys coming in, how do you keep that focus? Because I think sometimes it can be an expectation, and maybe you don't work as hard. How do guys that are coming up maintain this level of excellence?
They look at the leaders that we provide. Like first me, Paris Johnson, actually me, Nick. Like all the younger guys look up to us. And when Justin was here, the young quarterbacks looked up to him. You know, so on and so forth. Like Terry McCorrin, like Chris looked up to him, and Chris is now the leader. Chris and Garrett's now the leaders of that room. You know, like it keeps going on and on. It's like a never-ending cycle.
There, there's been talk that college football playoff is going to expand to 12 games or 12 teams. Is that a good thing for college football to get more teams involved? I mean, you guys are in there a lot anyway. So is that a good thing in your mind for the playoff to expand to 12 or not?
To be honest, like I think it's a good thing overall. But also at the same time, though, it's like how many games are college players going to actually play? You know, because after like 12 games, like people's bodies like literally be like hurting and be like, all right, like can we like get like a little break? Then we get in, you know. But I think it'll be good, no matter what.
Is that something that could be solved with either add another bye week in the middle of this, start a week earlier, add another bye week in the regular season, or space things out more so it's till the end of January? Like, how would you solve that problem to make that work?
I don't know. It was just brought up today. I don't care for real. I'm just ready to play football.
Hey.
Probably.
Thayer, last year, heading into the season last year was so focused on Clemson and getting over that hump, and you guys did that. And is the focus turned? Is it now Alabama in focus, or is it?
It's more win the whole thing instead of Alabama or just one team, because we know we can get there. We know we have the potential to actually do that. All it is now is on us. It's actually like, all right, we need to do this. We need to pay attention to detail, like I said before. Like, it's all about the details, That's all it is.
You haven't put the big score up in the weight room. It doesn't say.
We still have that score. It's just we just don't post it everywhere.
Thayer, how close do you think you are to that? Like the gap between where you are now and where you need to be to win the national title?
Personally, I think we are far from it, but from our whole team's perspective, we don't think we that far from it, but we push ourselves so far. It's like, all right, we need to be better than Bama. We need to be better than everybody else. They pay attention to the actual details and stuff.
Do you think that last year's the end result felt different because of everything else you guys had to go through to get there? Like the Clemson game in 2019, you were there. You guys knew you were the better team that day, but you lost.
Yeah.
With everything that happened last year, the way that the season ended, I don't think people felt as much hurt about it as far as the national landscape or the way fans viewed it. Do you guys chalk that up as a sort of an anomaly, that all this crap happened and we just had to play the game?
Oh, my bad. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
Happy birthday. Nah, it's just keep going, just do our thing, pay attention to detail, and if we do the little things right, we'll win the game. And play hard as well, like we always do.
Thayer, if you could find a name, image, likeness deal with any brand of your choosing, which one would it be and why?
Anybody. It don't matter. Anybody will.
Thayer, do you have any idea if they'll play next year this year? It doesn't matter. I mean, how much confidence do you have?
I feel very confident of whoever's going to be right next to me, or who's at left guard, center, right guard, or right tackle. It don't matter. It doesn't matter, because me as a leader and Nick is a leader as well. We're going to make sure, all right, you going to be starting or you going to be playing if he goes down. Make sure you know your stuff before you go on that field.
I mean, it sounds like you've got a lot of interchangeable pieces. Harry can play guard, he can play center. Matt can play guard, can play center. You got Luke, you got obviously Paris is probably going to play right guard. I mean, you feel like there might be questions, but not concerns.
If they can play it, they can play it. If I see it on film, and Coach Studd sees it on film, and we all feel confident of him being in that position, we'll put them in that position. But till then, they have that chance to actually like show people themselves of what they can do.
Have you gotten a quarterback question yet?
Huh?
Have you gotten a quarterback question yet?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Hey Thayer, what's your relationship like with Paris Johnson? I mean, going back to that last question about being Cincinnatians, just what's your relationship with him like, being from that same area?
Well, to be honest, I didn't know him before he was like a big name guy. Right now, my relationship with him is actually pretty good. Like he's like the little brother. Like he's like my little brother. Like we always joke around, and he said. I always call him grandson. He always called me nephew because we have like a weird bond. You know, it's always a weird bond between me and him. But also at the same time, it's like we push each other so much. I push my brothers a lot. Like, and when Wyatt Davis was here and Josh Myers was here, they pushed me to actually become stronger and to like mentally prepare myself for like the next level. You know.
Where's Paris athletically compared to the others who play your guys' position?
He's a.
Thayer, do you think the quarterback battle will, take some time here, or we?
It'll take some time. You know, everything's not set in stone until the day of the game. So y'all can ask me all these questions about the quarterback, but I can't really tell y'all, or I really don't know.
Right.
You know?
But they all deserve a shot.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's head and shoulders.
Nah, not at all. Everybody's doing the same thing as everybody else does. You know.
No matter how early you find out, though, as far as like, getting that guy more first team reps, getting that guy established with the first string offense.
It's important, but most of the same times, like they need to do what they need to do. You know, just to actually take that spot. Be the guy to actually like take that spot and actually run with it. Not just be the guy, just get there and be satisfied with it. Nobody wants to be satisfied with where they at. I'm not satisfied where I'm at. You know, everybody got me going first rounds. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I don't care. Like, that's fine until the field, like, until people see the game. You know what I mean? Like, we can all say like, oh, he's gonna be this, oh, he's gonna be that. Who can't you show that on the field? You know?
Thayer, obviously the pandemic's caused a lot of challenges. One of those last year was having limited capacity fans. This year, fans are coming back. How big of a boost is that going to be for you guys once you start the season?
I cannot wait till these guys come back to the stadium because it was so like quiet. It's so weird to have just to play a game in the stadium without nobody there. It felt like a nut practice, but it was just so weird. But I just can't wait to have them back.
How much do you think it'll raise? How much do you think it'll improve the play? Just having the adrenaline from having fans in the stands.
It will improve the play a lot. But at the same time, the other team will also feel it too. We will feel off of it. Like it goes hand in hand. You know.
But it was probably just not a lot of. The play felt like a chore instead of a joy, right? Because you didn't have people in the stands.
Yeah, for sure it is.
What was hardest? I remember James Franklin at Penn State talked about how he missed getting the middle finger on the bus and getting things thrown at the bus. Yeah. You also got to kind of miss that part of it too, like Mr. the road fan, particularly in school like you guys.
100%. Like, especially when we go to Minnesota, I'm like literally expecting people just like throw stuff at us. I'm like, not throw stuff at us like personally, but throw stuff at the bus. Like, don't throw stuff at us personally, because that kind of be like, oh, like he bold for that. So.
Do you worry about, like, you watch the pro sports and some of the fan behavior that you've seen, like, in the NBA? Do you worry about some of that stuff maybe carrying over?
Not really. It's just I've been in the zone so much. It's like, all right, I have a game to play. I really don't have nothing to actually look forward to. But they do still do throw stuff at me. I'm like, all right. We look up. I'm like, all right, I got you. Move on.
You and Nick being 1 and 2 last year in Power 5 for blocking pass, how do you set expectations again to get better, aside from doing what you did last year? How do you get better after putting off such a solid season?
Always critique other people, critique ourselves. You know, as leaders, as offensive line unit, like, we can't just be like, oh, like, I'm cool. It doesn't work like that. Like, if you don't critique yourself and be hard on yourself too, and help out others as well, like, you can't push for greatness.
How much is that competition with Nick help yourself?
A lot. it helps a lot. Me and him was just talking about it last night. Yeah, we was a duo, but also at the same time, like we couldn't do what we do without the players who came before us and helping out our young guys as well and helping out ourselves. You know.
Give me your critique of him. Like, analyze his play. What kind of player he is.
Right now, we haven't gone to practice yet, so things could change. You know.
When you moved to Massillon, there were a lot of questions about could you make it at Ohio State academically, things like that. Now you're talking about you being a first round guy next year. You have a chance to go to the draft if you want to. Do you ever reflect on kind of where you've gone from where you were?
100%. Most of everybody knows that I did not come from the greatest part. I didn't come from I don't have the mental I have a learning disability, and that's why I wasn't the high recruited player because I was having a learning disability, and now everybody's praising me now. I'm like, that's fine, but where was this before? It's all fine and dandy right now, but y'all wasn't there when I was back then, just struggling just to have my test scores right, or struggling just to have my mental state right because I was still a kid, just learning everything, and that's where people mess up as yeah, you congratulate me right now, but where was you back then? You know what I mean? It's nobody. I'm not calling out nobody, of course, but I'm just saying overall,
Hey, Thayer, we spent a lot of time talking to Michigan players yesterday, and all of them said that they're putting a lot more emphasis on the rivalry this year. Given how lopsided it's been for so long, how surprised are you that it's taken this long for them to put more emphasis on it?
To be honest, I'm not really surprised. Everybody knows this is the greatest rivalry of all sports. I'm happy they doing it, but at the same time, I don't feel like they have shied away from it. It's always been there, I read something earlier the year, they was talking about the defense. I'm like, I like it, I like that. I love the talk. I love everything. But also at the same time, though, it's we happy that we get to play this rivalry, of course, but at the same time, it's our game to play, not nobody else's.
During the Zoom interview with you during the off season, you talked about focusing on life after football, and you were trying to become, you have hopes of becoming a future athletic director, and you were doing things at local high schools to learn how that process works. Can you enlighten us on how that process has been going for you?
Right now, it's been going pretty well. I'm starting to build my brand up a little bit more. Just trying to reach out to little kids to make sure they're all right, mentally, not just physically, just mentally. Because Coach Day harps on that with us a lot. It's all the mental stuff. Physically, you can have all the attributes in the world, but at the same time, you don't have the mental part. You're not going to really succeed that well. It's for me, for instance, it's all mental. With my learning disability, in high school, I can actually tell kids about what I went through. Yeah, it might be repetitive, but also at the same time, you gotta understand where I'm coming from, of why I'm getting on you so much about you gotta do this right, you gotta do that right. It's telling y'all kids the same thing. All right, make sure you do this right. Yeah, they be yeah, all right, but at the same time, they have somebody else right there to talk to about it. They be oh, now I understand where you're coming from. Especially that game when he got, every holding call during that one series, everybody was bashing him. Oh, he's this, he's that. I was like, well, let me help him out because I went through that. Because with me, with the Wisconsin game, when we first played on 2019, I believe, right? In 2019, I was getting bashed because I gave up a sack. I'm like, dang, this not good. Let me calm down. Let me get off Twitter real quick. just calm myself down so I won't get overwhelmed as much. Or even though the Michigan State game as well, 2018, I was reading comments like left and right. I'm like, this guy sucks. This guy's this. Why is he even playing? I'm like, all right, that's how y'all feel. Later on down the road, I see the same tweets from the same person, like, oh, he's the greatest player ever. I'm like, you just the one that was talking stuff about me, like, what's going on? Like, are you bipolar? Like what's going on right now? But at the same time, I understand like the fans are like very into it as well, so I give them that too.
So what did you tell Harry?
Don't get on Twitter. Do not get on like your social media at all. Just let it ride. Critique yourself a little bit harder. See what you need to do better. Hand placement, your feet, certain stuff, And he's been doing that, and even though he had like his little injury, of course, he's still been working on that. He's been like after every workout, he's been literally about a difference every day. Like just trying to make sure, like, all right, I'm not going to do the same mistake that I did against Rutgers, or same mistake against Northwestern, or any other team. Just to make sure he's ahead of the learning curve.
What did people not give him credit for doing right?
Yes, sir.
What did people not give him credit for doing right? You're pointing out the mistakes. What were they missing?
How hard he's working and how hard, like, people don't understand how hard offensive lineman is, like how offensive line actually is. Like, everybody wants us to be like the perfect player. Nobody's really perfect. Like, we all ain't perfect people. Like, we all know. Like, everybody in this room is not. Like, you can't just critique one person because their name is out there. You gotta critique your own self as well.
Thayer, you mentioned that growth process that takes place. It's very rare to be a fourth-year starting left tackle in college football. Like, how special is that to have that kind of opportunity?
It's very special, but at the same time, I gotta still do what I need to do. It's a great accomplishment. Just like Billy Price, he actually started for 4 years, played in the national championship game, won the national championship game. Like that's an accomplishment right there. And I'm just going for him and just talking to him a little bit. He's been doing great,
You mentioned building your brand. How much do you think name, image, and likeness can help you all as college athletes?
It can help a lot. But I know for sure, most people, all people is trying to do it for money, as well. But at the same time, I'm trying to make sure, life after football for the kids is like, all right, like, football is only for so long, Like, what are you gonna do after that? Like, how's your personal life? How's your family doing? Are you gonna learn? Are you learning what not to do? Just keep moving on from that.
I'm curious, what's your perspective on the college football playoff looking to expand to 12 teams? What do you think that would be like for players of potentially having a longer playoff?
Just if we have less games in the regular season, it would be good. But I haven't really put in that much thought into it. It just popped up today. I was like, oh, okay, like, we're doing this now, or or what? But everything should be good. I think everybody should get a chance, but also at the same time, you actually need to earn your chance as you get to the college playoffs, though.
You mentioned less games in regular season. Like, how hard do you think it would be on players if they had to play 16, 17 games in a year?
Oh, so much harder. Like the NFL, like, you get to practice like once a week during pads. With us, like, we practice like twice a week in pads, and that's wear and tear on our bodies as well. Because we want to play, but also at the same time, like, we need to rest too, just to make sure like we're gonna be ready for the end of the season and you actually don't get injured, Yeah.
There, you have open with a Thursday night game in Minnesota. What do you expect out of that?
The atmosphere is gonna be great. I can't wait for that one. They have a good defense. They have good offense as well. I just can't wait to actually like play them in their own stadium and just play them. Because especially in front of fans, like, it's so good. It's so great to actually have them there.
Added importance that it's a Big Ten game. Added importance to the game because it's a Big Ten conference game.
100%.
There, you mentioned you haven't had team practices yet. How important is this summer session right here, kind of getting ready for team practices and the preseason to start?
The summer session for us is basically like building our team. You know, during winter it's all about being stronger. You know, being more conditioned for football, for spring game and spring practice. You know, during the summer is more of building our team, but also being stronger as well and faster, just to make sure like we're gonna do everything right. You know, and I personally think like for our team, like we gonna be there, but right now I don't think we're there yet, and we always got stuff to improve on too, no matter what it is.
How important of a role has Mick Marotti played in the summer for your team? I mean, you're a veteran. How important is it?
A very important role. Like he made everybody stronger. He made everybody more mentally tough. You know, but at the same time though, like he's an important piece to it. But at the same time, like our leadership, like me, Zach, Jeremy, Haskell, Marcus, Seven, like our leadership means a lot more to the players than the coaches, of course, because coaches always talk. But when the players start talking, like that means like, oh, we need to actually do it. We actually need to do it right, you know. You know, we always tell players, like our players, like just take one game at a time. You know, with me, with the going against the Oregon's DN, of course, like yes, it's great. I'm going against him. I can make a name for myself a little bit more. But also at the same time, though, you gotta treat everybody with respect. You know, like, I gotta treat Minnesota's DNs with respect. Like treat them like they are the #1 defensive end in the country. I gotta treat Oregon's like DN as the #1 DN in the country, of course, and so on and so forth. Like anybody, me and Nick go against, we always want to treat them with respect, always.
Brought up outside is how naming his likeness impacts the locker room. You've already been asked this sort of, but I'm wondering inside how much is a regular discussion inside the locker room. How much do you think will impact team dynamics?
Well, I really don't think it's gonna be that much, like a separation. But also at the same time, like people are gonna get like a little bit butthurt because they're not making as much money as they should. But also at the same time, if you don't perform on the field, if you don't perform in the academic side, like you're not about to get anything. That's facts.
Is there a pretty good understanding of that?
Everybody understands that, and I have really nothing much to say about that one. Yeah. Well, same time it's new. Like we all try to get used to it. Of course, it's like, dang, like we actually like having this opportunity to actually like get a new car, actually get money for our name. Like like it's very new to us. But I know down the road it's gonna be a little bit more competitive. But also at the same time, like it also depends on leaders as well. Like all right, the NIL stuff is off to the side. Focus on the team now. You always got to focus on the team first before yourself.
You mentioned the importance of player leadership. What have you done as one of those player leaders to really step up in that regard?
Be a little bit more vocal, because everybody knows that I'm not like the talkative person. But again, I'm not the rah type person just to get everybody hyped up. I'm more just like, all right, we all need to do this like as a team. Like I'm not just going to single everybody up. We all going to do this as a team. We all need to pick each other up. If defense is on the field and it gets stopped, let's get up and get rowdy for everybody else, And it goes on and on, like, for all three phases, even special teams. If our kicker makes a field goal, we happy. Defense gets stopped, we happy. Offense get a first down or a touchdown, a big play, we happy. Like, we always, encourage each other on and also critique ourselves as well.
Who are some of the younger guys that you've seen step up on the offensive line this offseason?
Josh Pryor, Paris Johnson. Matt Jones is not a freshman, of course, but he's stepped up as well. Donovan Jackson, in his class, has came in and actually performed well in the weight room. Now you got to transfer that to on the field, because the weight room is different than the field, you know.
How much does it make you better knowing that you're going to be going up against Zach Harrison and Tyreek Smith and Tyler Friday and Javonte Jean-Baptiste and all those other defensive ends in practice?
Like with Zach Harrison, he's a freaking nature. So is Tyreek. You know, I go against them every day. I also went against Chase Young, Nick Bosa. I went with them. I went against Chase and Nick for 2 years. Actually, no, Chase for 3 years, of course, but Nick for 2. And they made me better to see what I need to work on as well. You know, and going against Zach and with his speed, his athleticism as well, and Tyreek as well, going against them is going to be make my job a lot more easier, because their game is going to be a lot more easier as well.
Thayer, you play for a program that prides itself on producing first-round picks at a lot of different positions. There's only been 2 first-round tackles since Orlando and Taylor Decker. Do you guys talk about that much? Do you think that maybe you and Nick and Paris in a couple of years might be able to change that and add a few more names to that list?
Yeah, we talked about it, but also at the same time, it's not our agenda. It's on our scratch that. I'm sorry. It's on our agenda, but we don't focus. If we play the game of football, we gonna be a first rounder or whatever round we go in. You know, it's all about our play.
When recruits come to visit campus and talk to you guys, I'd imagine that piece is important, the NFL development piece. Do you talk with tackles much about the track record, I guess, or lack thereof, of producing first-round tackles, and it matters to them at all?
Not at all, because if we start talking about that, it's more like a business. With them, it's a business type relationship with a player to player. So, all right, if you're going to come here, I'm going to treat you like my brother. We're going to talk about some stuff that you don't talk about with your parents, you know? Just talk about, life stuff. We don't talk about, first rounders, because we all, first football players, we always talk about football. We always talk about football. Football this, football that. But at the same time, when we start talking about, other stuff, like food, for instance, school, something like that, life lessons, that builds more trust and builds your confidence up a lot more than first round. You know?
But I'm wondering if you at all think of yourself sort of as, I don't know, kind of the quintessential development guy when you think about how a player can develop in this program to go from where you came from when you came in to now you're going to be a 4-year starting left tackle with 50-something starts under his belt by the time his career is over.
Yeah, like that. Hey, 50-something, I don't know. But,
or I guess not quite 50.
Yeah,
if he had a real season last year, it would have been 50.
Yeah. Man, I really got him that much thought. That was a good question right there. Can I come back to that one?
Sure.
Appreciate that.
Thayer, Caleb with Sports Philanthropy Network. When you go pro, what charities or foundations would you like to support? What causes are dear to your heart?
Geez, I ain't worrying about that either. Really, it's just helping out any way I can. It's not just one specific charity. It's any charity that I reach out to or any charity that reach out to me, I'll help out. But it has to be for a great cause. Not just like St. Jude's Foundation is very good. But everybody reaches out to them. I just want to reach out to somebody that's starting a foundation and actually give them more money so they can help them start up their little foundation as well, you know? To be honest, I wasn't mad, but I was like, dang, you really let him retire? Yes.
Hey, I'm leaving. This guy's taking over. You guys have, obviously, he's working with Coach Thayer for a while. What was the real reaction?
Everybody was just like, wow, he's really retiring. But at the same time, we had Coach Day at hand. Coach Day is a great great coach. He loves the players. Like he loves he literally loves everybody. It doesn't really matter if you like walk on or the star player of the team. You know. I was kind of mad, but at the same time it's like, oh well, now I'm playing for him 2 years now, so it's good.
Coach Day talked about how that he recruits guys. He's trying to be as transparent as he can. Right? I realized you weren't recruited by him. He talked about if guys come to Ohio State for the right reasons, they stay for the right reason. Their eyes are on more than just trying to get on the field. You've certainly got an NFL future. How much do you enjoy the education part of your journey in this?
Well, if I'll be completely honest, I really don't like it as much. But at the same time, it's part of the process. You gotta get your degree to actually do something with your life. Like I have the Ohio State football tag. That I play for Ohio State football. Most of the time, if you have that tag of, I graduated from Ohio State. I was also a part of the Ohio State's team, the football team. That's a great accomplishment as well.
So what's the hardest part about being a student?
Having time to actually study. I'd be so tired during times for practice. I'm like, man, I really don't want to study. Let me just go to bed. So I'm rest up for tomorrow before I get yelled at for not doing the right assignment. That's the biggest thing for me. Twice.
Actually, it's not really moving away. That's actually you have to go out and go out.
Him again. Hold up, no. Because 2017, we played there. I got played one time. The one we played at JT scored. The next year, we